Like many others, I think the fallen angel deception is very close in the guise of UFOs and aliens. This video will cover album art which combine themes of witchcraft, the occult, and UFOs. Soon I'll be posting a video of a witness who had a fallen angel encounter associated with orbs. Here are the photos the witness took in Canada in 2013 during the time when he witnessed the fallen angel. Keep these photos in mind as we go through this album art. Alan Parsons Project. Alan Parsons is Order of the British Empire and worked on the Beatles albums. Take a look at the orb because I'm going to cover that in the video about the witness to a fallen angel. Here's some more Alan Parsons. And here is Alan Parsons' Lucifer. He's most excellent Order of the British Empire. The next one is the Misfits. Walk among us. They walk among us. Isn't that what the Harvard people wrote? And in this description or depiction, they look like vampires. The next one is Electric Light Orchestra. Almost all of their album art is UFOs. They're a British band. The next one is Led Zeppelin. Robert Plant is commander of the British Empire, and Jimmy Page, Order of the British Empire. And so many of the others that I cover are also in that category. And we know that Jimmy Page and Robert Plant are witches, and that, this is not one of God's angels. This is not one of God's angels. Okay? All right. Houses of the Holy. These photos were taken at the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland, and they left out the part about it being kid porn. Artwork, it says, was inspired by Arthur C. Clarke's science fiction book Childhood's End. In the end of the book, there was this image of all the children of Earth rising up in this great firestorm and going up into outer space. And that same giant causeway was featured in the London 2012 Olympic ceremony propaganda with a children's choir. Blimps. Lots of blimps on their album covers. The Mothership. Blimps have a British origin during the First World War, when the British were experimenting with lighter-than-air craft. This album has portals all over it. This is the original, then they put faces inside the portals later. It also has the monarch butterflies, and apparently the monarch butterfly from MK Ultra derives its name in part from the monarchy. Here is a blimp over crop circles. Presents. The thing on the table is the obelisk, loosely based on the otherworldly and mysterious black monoliths in Stanley Kubrick's 1968 movie 2001: A Space Odyssey that affects human evolution. Boston. They're from Boston, of course, and almost all their album art features UFOs, and the founder, Scholes, went to MIT. Rush. Canadian. Geddy Lee is Jewish, but he calls himself an atheist. But, you know, this really doesn't look to me like he's an atheist. There's more Rush. This is Rush Clockwork Angels. And these are all sigils. That clock is set at 9/11. Blue Oyster Cult. They are from Long Island, and at least one of their members is a Rev 29er, but I couldn't find out about the others. There's a hook and cross logo, which you can see down here, and it's on all their album art. It's designed for them. In Greek mythology, the hook and cross symbol is Kronos, king of the Titans, father of Zeus, and the alchemical symbol for lead. Another Blue Oyster Cult, extraterrestrial. Mirrors. We know that mirrors are used in the occult to summon. Tyranny and mutation. As above, so below, magician. And a pentagram here on the outfit of these beings, whatever they are supposed to be. Journey. You'll notice in Journey it looks like, well, they use the scarab beetle, but they have fallen angel symbolism and also things coming out of orbs, lots of space symbolism in the Journey. They're American from San Francisco, formed by former members of Santana and the Steve Miller Band. The Flaming Lips. I can't stand this band. They make me want to vomit. But the Flaming Lips, they promote them a lot. They've been around forever, and they're always, opening up for other bands. They're psychedelic rock. So this says UFOs at the zoo. They also have King's Mouth and telepathic surgery. Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Dark Star. We already talked about their origins. See my video titled Dark Star. Dream Theater, also from Boston. Mirror and outer space and a god in this one. This is Awake. This one is interesting because this says Live Scenes from New York, and it was the original album that was released on 9/11, and it shows New York going up in flames. It shows the Twin Towers. And also kind of looks like an orb. Here's another Dream Theater, the Alien. Another Dream Theater, a small orb. It says Breaking the Human Threshold. Distance Over Time. A robot holding a human skull on that one. Sushi and the Banshees. They're a British punk goth band. Su means serpent, and apparently they have some of the same imagery as the Southern Death Cult. See my video titled Southern Death Cult. Banshee is a female spirit in Gaelic folklore, an Irish female spirit or fairy, a supernatural being supposed to warn family of approaching death of one of its members by wailing. Here you have an orb. Looks like they're underwater, but there's an orb coming through, and it looks like a giant foot. Giant foot. Star of Rome fan. Through the Looking Glass. Talked about mirrors. Raise your hand if you think Susie is a dude. Here's one from King's Crimson Orchestra. It's a London orchestra from 1968. And then there's some more obscure ones I'll show. Unsacred Seed, Frontiers, Outer Isolation, and here you have this spaceship looking scarab dude thing trying to capture an orb, it looks like. An alien type dude, the key, and it's a pentagram. Total Death. So that's also, do you see how all of these bands have UFO occult combined in their album art? I think it's all related to fallen angels. Thanks for listening.